Yo, what is up, everyone? My name is Dom. We're going to talk about unusual options activity. Alright. Disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes only. The statements made in this programming are solely the opinion of the show and are not a specific inducement to make an investment. One must perform their own due diligence and realize that all investments carry risk. There's no guarantee of profit. Alright, everyone. First one I want to bring up is TIGR. Now, this is UP Fintech Holdings. This is a China company, investment services. It's, I think, a recent IPO. And if you look at the stats, most of these China IPOs go down the crapper, if you know what I mean. So, now I saw some unusual, not really unusual, but there's some nice orders coming in for these calls here, for these May 21st 20 strike calls. Now, I saw some nice, put trades here. So, there's a lot of people going long here on UP Fintech Holdings, but I decided to go short. I'm bringing two trades where I'm kind of doing the opposite here. I'm going short UP Fintech Holdings here. We can take a look at the time of sales. There's some nice put trades here. People coming in and buying some puts here. Not a huge order there, but I'm not very bullish on this one. This thing used to be a $2 stock, ran up to 38. We're kind of catching it at a good time, I think, to buy a put here. The time to go long was, around $13, $14 a share. People are, last time this thing was around $17.50, traded up to 24 and then traded down to 13. I think this is a good time to go short in UP Fintech Holdings here. This thing has had a huge run. I don't think there's any fundamental reason why this thing should be at $20 a share, but that doesn't mean it can't go higher, and that doesn't mean it can't go lower. So yeah, now we are short UP Fintech Holdings. I have the 1750 12.5 strike put. I think I paid about $120, I think, to control 100 shares of this short, and with the potential for the spread to go to $5 if the stock is below $12.50 on expiration. So I like those odds there. Look here, the implied volatility is super high. That means these options are going to be super expensive. So I like doing a spread here. Limit the time decay and limit the compression from volatility, because on these, I always tend to do spreads on these stocks that have really high implied volatility, because if the implied volatility comes down even 1%, from 120 to 119, you can lose you can lose a good amount of money. That can add up quickly. This thing is high implied volatility, so if it shoots down to like 100%, you're going to lose a good amount of money on the option just from the implied volatility crush. So next one I want to bring up is AMAT. Now, there was some put buying here in these April 30th 122 strike puts. Now, I don't think that encapsulates earnings. I think earnings are May 20th, if I'm not mistaken, sometime later in May. So now this is another one. I went long AMAT. This is production technology, Lam Research, KLA-10 Core, Applied Materials. They just had an amazing investor analyst day, and every single analyst raised the price target. They're talking about incredible demand. Now, this company is production technology, so they make the equipment that makes semiconductors. So with the semiconductor shortage, these companies, KLA-10 Core, Lam Research, Applied Materials, Integris, these companies are set up, booked out for many years now. I don't know why anybody would be going short Applied Materials. Obviously this thing has had a huge run here, but the forward PE, the forward price to earnings is still reasonable on this stock here. It's had a pullback from about 146. I think we got in today around 129. And if you look at this thing, this thing has around 10 to 13% corrections. Ran up to 90, traded down to 85, ran up to 110, traded down to 97, ran up to almost 125, pulled back to almost 105. So this thing's high is about 146, traded down to 130. I think this is a good time to get into AMAT. This is a long-term holding. I bought a pretty bulky half position here, and if it trades down, I might hold off into earnings to add more in case it trades down more after earnings, because this thing is kind of priced to perfection here. But, over the long haul, I think this is going to be a good hold. The time to go short on Applied Materials was at 146, not at 130 in my opinion. So I bought the stock, and I'll be adding to it. So thanks for everyone who's been subscribing. I really appreciate it. Make sure you keep the subscribing up. We're doing, we're kind of doing the opposite here. Sometimes doing the opposite of what everyone else doing, is a good move, and it makes you money. With stocks and with a lot of different things in life. So Thanks for everyone who's been subscribing. Keep the subscribing up. Make sure to leave a comment down below if you got a question, and we'll see everyone in the next one.